Welcome to this edition of The Forum. I'm your host, Diana Corbett, filling in for Sheila Evans. Here on The Forum, we highlight interesting and important achievements, programs, and events within our school system and community. And today's show is no exception. Things get underway with Kay Lynn Plummer Hernandez. She is the education specialist with the Cape Fear River Watch and will tell us about their upcoming programs and events. Then we travel to Bellamy Elementary School, where each week kindergartners are treated to a special program titled Pause for Reading. We'll get all the details on the program and see the special visitor that comes in each week. And finally, Valita Quattlebaum, Chief Communications Officer for New Hanover County Schools, stops in the studio. She has all the information on the county's premier arts event, Best Foot Forward. It's another great edition of The Forum, so stick around and we'll get right back with our guests after this short break.
Before you start an online relationship with a guy, think about how it could end.
Welcome back to The Forum. We're here today with Kay Lynn Hernandez. She's the education specialist for Cape Fear River Watch. Welcome, Kay Lynn.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We are certainly glad. With all this wonderful weather, River Watch is very important. Tell us a little bit about how you came to Cape Fear River Watch.
Well, I just started with Cape Fear River Watch about 5 months ago. They brought me on board in October of 2010. Before that, I got a degree in biology with an emphasis in wildlife management and fisheries, and worked with the Nature Conservancy down in the Florida Keys, teaching scientific diving to all of their volunteers, and we studied damselfish and sea urchins. And while I was there, I worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and did all kinds of things with them, and eventually got into management with the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, and where I ended up getting into seagrass ecosystems and how to protect those. And from there, I moved all the way down to a tiny Caribbean island called St. Eustatius, where I managed 3 different parks. It was for a Dutch organization called Stenapa, and I managed a marine park, which was the water surrounding the island from the high water mark all the way down to 30 feet in depth. I managed a national park, which was a dormant volcano, and also a botanical garden. And wow. From there, I went to Louisiana and worked at a consulting firm as in their environmental department as a project manager and biologist. And that was the last job I held before I was fortunate enough to find Cape Fear River Watch here in Wilmington.
Well, welcome. You have quite an extensive background. Tell us a little bit about Cape Fear River Watch and some of the education programs you're going to be having.
Yep, Cape Fear River Watch is a nonprofit environmental organization, and it's been working to protect and improve the water quality of the Cape Fear River Basin since 1993. We offer a variety of educational activities. We focus on education, advocacy, and action. And Cape Fear River Watch is dedicated to the improvement and the preservation of the health and the beauty and the heritage of the Cape Fear River Basin.
Great. Well, it's springtime. The warmer weather makes us think of summer. Do you have any summer activities for children and after school? I think you also mentioned.
Yeah. I've been working hard to develop different educational programs focused on water quality lately. We will have an educational after-school program being offered. It starts with an Enviroscape presentation in class, and after that, we'll go out into the field where kids can get hands-on with the nature and learn about stormwater runoff, learn about how they can be better stewards of the environment through really unique and memorable field trips. And now that spring is here, we're going to be kicking off our paddle series once again. Okay. It's something that our members really, really enjoy. 1 month we might be paddling down a crooked Blackwater River, and then the next month we might be exploring saltwater marshes and beaches in the lower part of the Cape Fear.
Oh, interesting. Now, your after-school programs, are they at the schools or do they come to your office?
We're working on developing a program where they can come into our office, the Education Center on Surrey Street, and that's where we could start off with the presentations and move them into the field to the various locations to explore our watersheds. The first program is going to be with the Martin Luther King Center beginning in March, and I'll actually go there, give the presentation there, and then we'll go from the Martin Luther King Center to the various locations on the field trip.
Oh, wonderful. And other ways that you're integrated with New Hanover County Schools?
Well, we're mostly integrated with New Hanover County Schools through a city initiative. The City of Wilmington's stormwater services, particularly Jennifer Butler, heads up an Enviroscape presentation. It focuses on watersheds, and it's a collaborative effort between the stormwater services, Cape Fear River Watch, and also New Hanover County Soil and Water Conservation District. We give these Enviroscape presentations to every single 8th grade class in New Hanover County. And it's a really great model that's just a scaled down model of a watershed. And it just teaches children about stormwater pollution, about water quality, and about how they can become better stewards of the environment.
Great. We're always encouraged to look down at the grate to see this water goes or leads to the Cape Fear.
Right,
You know,
right.
I think
And this model really provides them with that visual concept so they can get a grasp on it.
God, that's just excellent. Now tell me a little bit, Greenfield Lake paddle boats, that's also associated with Cape Fear River Watch.
Yeah, Cape Fear River Watch has a dock on on Greenfield Lake. We have paddle boats and kayaks, canoes that are all available to rent. Okay. And also, Scott Whittam is the Greenfield Lake manager for Cape Fear River Watch at Greenfield Lake. And he can offer nature tours on our electric-powered boat that takes you on the water of Greenfield Lake, and he can give you a nature tour around there, as well as me offering walking nature tours all around the 5-mile paved walkway. Greenfield Lake is really an incredible, it's a cypress dome ecosystem. It's 90 acres of it, and there's a lot there to learn. And it being so close to the city of Wilmington, it's also managed by the city's Park and Recreation Division and Stormwater Services.
A 90-acre cypress dome.
It is, and the city as well as the parks and Cape Fear River Watch, we're doing what we can to preserve the beauty and the nature there at Greenfield Lake.
I've got to ask you, alligators in Greenfield Lake?
There are alligators in Greenfield Lake. A lot of people like to go to Greenfield Lake to try and see an alligator. Scott would like everyone to know that to please not feed the alligators. It's not what they eat, and so it's not good for the alligators themselves. And more importantly, or just as importantly, is that it changes their behavior. Mm-hmm. We want them to act naturally in Greenfield Lake and not become too familiar with people and the food that they might provide. So.
And don't dangle your fingers out of the canoe, right?
No. Although there's never been any sort of incident with Cape Fear River Watch and that happening in alligators. They are a really pleasure to see when you're out there on the water.
Wonderful. Well, tell me, okay, the paddle trips that you take down the river and to the various other places, can people rent those? I guess canoes.
When on the lake at the boathouse, you can rent those things, the paddle boats and the kayaks to be on the lake. The paddle series is once a month. It's called it's once a month on a Saturday. It begins next month when the weather gets really good, and that's sort of a membership initiative where we'll have one person with Cape Fear River Watch get them out on the water. It's something that it's not so geared toward science or education. We really do it for the recreational aspect because we feel like the best way to get to know the river is to get out on it. And that's when we'll get out into some of the various tributaries and such on the river. Another thing that members are privy to is we have a first Saturday seminar where we invite presenters, very interesting and diverse presenters. We've had presentations on as diverse as piracy on the Cape Fear River to mercury level testing in fish. And we get presenters that are part of our local government. Sometimes the presenters are professors or some other academia, and also industry leaders.
Great.
And it's the first Saturday of every month at the Cape Fear River Watch Education Headquarters on Surrey Street.
Oh my gosh, you're doing so much at Cape Fear River Watch.
We are. There's a lot to do, and I couldn't do it by myself. We have a newly established education and outreach committee that's made up of some incredible people, some some professors, artists, photographers, retired school teachers, and we've developed a lot of educational activities for children ranging from ages 3 to 15 and also for adults. And we're hoping to get those activities that we've developed into the school systems and hit more of these events around town to get the awareness out.
Great. Well, Caitlin, thank you so much for being with us with the Cape Fear River Watch Education Specialist.
Thank you.
And don't worry, we'll be right back.
My hopes right now are just to go out there and play the perfect show.
You have to make choices. We want to do this. We want this.
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Diana Corbett. Each week this year, Ms. Howell's kindergarten class at Bellamy Elementary is visited by a special guest as part of the Pause for Reading program. Tibbet, an Irish Water Spaniel, comes in and spends a few minutes getting petted by the students. Tibbet then lays on the carpet and the kindergartners take turns reading to him. We take a trip to Bellamy to see his program in action.
To face the book, we made this for you. And I made a page for you, and I drawed a pack on your back. I know you're going to have a lot of fun next week with me. We can play with the toys. These, all right? And we can look at books together. I think he likes that idea.
I'm a kindergarten classroom teacher, Amby Hauer, and I worked with Megan Ryan, who was the Girl Scout who wanted to come in and work with educating the children on the issue with the stray dogs in the Humane Society, and we were blessed to have Tibbet come in, and we really thought it was just going to be a couple-week adventure with Tibbet, and we realized after seeing how the children reacted that this might be something that we could continue long-term. We are a Title I school, so we have a lot of students that have, socioeconomic issues, and a lot of times those students don't get the time reading with the parents like we would like them to. So we chose a few of our students that were struggling in reading and invited them to read with Tibbet, and we saw such an excitement to want to practice reading, to take the